The holographic recording continued, but Admiral Corrin had heard enough. His skin flashed colors that needed no translation. Pure fear. Something hunted humanity? Something powerful enough to force your entire species to flee? Commander Jiwan ignored him, focused on the recording. The human woman was still speaking. To any outpost crew who finds this, your mission is clear. Survive. Ensure our legacy remains. The galaxy must not forget what humanity can do. The coordinates and encryption keys are stored in this system. Use them wisely. The gates will recognize human DNA. Come home. The recording ended. Dr. Hyan was already at the command console, downloading everything. Files, data, star charts, encryption protocols, all of it flooding into his portable storage. Beside him, Youngmi worked frantically, copying the coordinates. Corrin moved to stop them, but Lieutenant Daehyun stepped between them, weapon raised. Don't. This information affects the entire galaxy, Corrin protested. If there's a threat that drove humans away, we need to know. You need to know? Sergeant Minho laughed bitterly. Your species took our worlds while we slept. You erased our history. You declared us extinct so you could steal what we built. And now you want us to warn you about the monster in the dark? We didn't know you were alive, Corrin shot back. You didn't look very hard, Mira said quietly. 300 years of searching and you found nothing? Or did you stop looking because it was convenient? Jiwan held up her hand for silence. Everyone calmed down. Admiral, you're right that this affects the galaxy. But it's humanity's choice what we share and when. Dr. Hyan, how long until we have everything? Another 10 minutes, Commander. Make it 5. Youngmi, can you calculate the route to these coordinates? Already done, Commander. It leads exactly where we thought. Into the void beyond. Corrin's security forces moved closer, weapons ready but not raised. The tension in the room was like a physical weight. One wrong word, one sudden move, and this would turn into violence. Jiwan calculated the odds. Her people were better armed, better trained, but outnumbered. In a firefight here, they might win, but some would die. She was not ready to pay that price. Admiral, a compromise, she said. We share what we found. But my crew controls how we proceed, deal? Corrin considered for a long moment. You get to follow this trail, but my fleet escorts you. And if there is a threat, we face it together. It was not trust, but it was agreement. Jiwan nodded. Hyan, finish the download and then share the coordinates with the Admiral. Everyone pack up. We're leaving. As they prepared to depart, Jiwan took one last look at the command center. 300 years ago, humans had stood here and made the hardest choice imaginable. Abandon everything they had built or face extinction. They had chosen survival. Now it was her turn to choose. The journey back to the fleet was tense. Corrin's soldiers surrounded the humans, not quite prisoners, but not quite free. When they reached the ships, Corrin gathered his commanders and explained what they had found. The news spread through the fleet like fire. Humanity had not died. They had run from something terrible. And now, a small group of survivors wanted to lead everyone toward whatever had driven them away. Captain Tarn found Jiwan in her quarters aboard the Luminous Dawn. The avian captain looked troubled. His feathers pressed flat. Commander, my crew is frightened. The idea that something could threaten humanity so badly they had to flee. It terrifies them. It should, Jiwan replied. It terrifies me too. But I need to know what happened to my people, even if it means facing what they ran from. I understand. I want you to know whatever we find out there, my ship stands with you. Jiwan felt unexpected gratitude. In a galaxy that had erased her people, this alien captain offered loyalty. Thank you, Captain. The fleet set course for the void beyond. It took 6 days of travel, pushing the ships to their limits. The journey was not smooth. 3 vessels experienced engine failures from the strain. Admiral Corrin's flagship nearly collided with a rogue asteroid. The space here was hostile, filled with radiation storms and gravitational anomalies that made navigation a nightmare. Sun Wu proved his worth, piloting the Luminous Dawn through hazards that would have destroyed lesser ships. His skills honed 3 centuries ago were still superior to modern pilots. The rest of the fleet followed his lead, trusting the human to guide them through. On the 7th day, they found it, a region of space where the void seemed to fold in on itself. Sensors showed nothing, as if space itself was empty. But using the calculations from the high command files, Youngmi detected something else, a wormhole, hidden behind layers of exotic matter and technology that made it invisible to conventional scanning. That's it. Dr. Hyan breathed. The gate. That's how humanity escaped. Jiwan activated the encryption key they had recovered. A signal transmitted from the luminous dawn. Human military codes 3 centuries old. For a moment nothing happened. Then space rippled. The exotic matter dispersed. And before them opened a tunnel through reality itself, swirling with colors that hurt to look at. From the wormhole came a response. Text only, in human standard language. Identification confirmed. Outpost Zenith 7, you are cleared for passage. Welcome home. The fleet hung in space, staring at the impossible. Corrin's voice came over the communications channel. Commander Jiwan, what have you found? Before Jiwan could answer, ships began emerging from the wormhole. Human ships, not the old designs from 300 years ago, but new vessels, sleek and powerful, built with technology that made the current galactic standard look primitive. One after another they came, dozens of them, forming a defensive perimeter around the wormhole. The lead ship was massive, a capital-class vessel that dwarfed everything in Corrin's fleet. Its hull bore markings in human script. A communication request came through. Jiwan accepted it, her heart pounding. A woman appeared on the screen. She wore a uniform that was clearly military, but designed in styles Jiwan did not recognize. Behind her, a bridge full of humans worked at stations displaying technology that seemed like magic. The woman smiled, and there were tears in her eyes. Outpost Zenith 7, this is Fleet Commander Kyungmi of the United Terran Federation. We've been monitoring the gates for any sign of our lost outposts. We never stopped hoping some of you survived. She paused, composing herself. Welcome home, Commander Jiwan. Welcome home. Jiwan felt her own tears fall. Home. After 3 centuries, after waking to extinction, after watching their civilization erased, there was still home. Behind her, her crew was crying, laughing, holding each other. Even Minho was wiping his eyes. Fleet Commander Kyungmi's expression shifted, becoming more formal as she noticed the alien vessels. Commander, I see you have company. Are these friends or threats? Uncertain, Jiwan replied honestly. The galaxy has changed. They've occupied our worlds, erased our history, but some like Captain Tarn have helped us. Admiral Corrin forced cooperation, but he's kept his word. Kyungmi nodded. Then I'll address them. Patching through to all vessels. Her face appeared on every ship's communication system. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of authority. To the galactic community, this is Fleet Commander Kyungmi of the United Terran Federation. Humanity did not die. We evacuated to escape a threat that would have consumed all organic life. We have spent 3 centuries ensuring it cannot follow us back. We have been waiting, watching, preparing for the day we could return. She paused, letting that sink in across the fleet. We harbor no ill will toward those who occupied our former worlds. Survival demands hard choices, and we understand that empty territory will not remain empty forever. But understand this clearly. Humanity is returning, not as conquerors, but as equals. We hope you will meet us as friends, as partners in facing the challenges this galaxy holds. Her voice hardened slightly. But make no mistake about our capabilities. We are still the species that once made the galaxy step carefully. We are stronger now, smarter, better prepared. We come in peace, but we are still capable of war. How this proceeds is entirely up to you. Admiral Corrin's channel opened. His voice was shaken but steady. Fleet Commander, this is Admiral Corrin of the Galactic Defense Fleet. I speak only for myself, not the Council, but I believe. I hope we can find a path forward together. As do I, Admiral. We have much to discuss. Jiwan activated her own channel to the entire human fleet. Fleet Commander Kyungmi, this is Commander Jiwan. Permission to bring my crew home? Permission granted, Commander. And Jiwan, thank you. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for not giving up. You and your crew reminded the galaxy who we are. Now come home. It's time to rest. The luminous dawn moved toward the wormhole, toward the impossible tunnel that led to humanity's new home. Behind them, the galaxy watched, uncertain and afraid and hopeful all at once. Jiwan stood on the bridge with her crew, the 11 others who had survived 3 centuries of sleep. We missed 300 years, Dr. Hyan said quietly. Jiwan smiled, feeling something she had not felt since waking. Not hope, not quite yet, but the possibility of hope. No, we survived 300 years. We held the line while our people built a new future. We remained when everyone else fled. We reminded the galaxy what humanity means. She looked at each of them. Hyun, the scientist who never stopped searching for answers. Tae-yun the soldier. Tae-sung woke up with a headache that felt like his skull was splitting open. The last thing he remembered was flying his cargo ship through the Outer Rim, carrying medical supplies to the colony on Titan's Hope. Then the alarm started screaming. Something hit his ship hard and everything went dark. Now he was lying on a cold metal floor in a room that glowed with strange blue light. The walls looked smooth like glass but felt warm when he touched them. He tried to stand up, but his legs felt weak. His head was pounding and his mouth tasted like metal. "Where am I?" he whispered to himself. A voice answered from somewhere above him. It sounded like wind blowing through broken glass. "You are awake, human. Good. The sedatives have worn off faster than we calculated." Tae-sung looked up and saw something that made his blood run cold. A creature stood on the other side of a transparent barrier. It was tall, maybe 8 feet, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Its head was too large for its thin body, and where eyes should be, there were 3 dark holes that seemed to pull in light. It wore no clothes, but its body was covered in patterns that moved and changed color. "What are you? Where is my ship?" Tae-sung demanded, trying to sound braver than he felt. "I am Crixenal, lead researcher of xenopsychology for the Valkyrian Empire. Your ship has been destroyed. You are now a subject in our study." The creature's voice had no emotion in it at all. Tae-sung felt his stomach drop. The Valkyrian Empire. He had heard stories about them in the military briefings before he left service. They were one of the most advanced species in the galaxy, and they had been watching humanity for decades. Nobody knew what they wanted, but the rumors said they were preparing for something big. A subject? What kind of study? Tae-sung asked, though part of him did not want to know the answer. Crixenal tilted its head in a way that looked wrong, like a bird studying a bug. "We are studying human mental resilience. Your species is primitive, yet you survive in conditions that would destroy most other beings. We need to understand why. More importantly, we need to understand how to break that resilience." The words hit Tae-sung like a physical blow. "You're going to torture me." Torture is an inefficient term. We will apply carefully measured psychological and neurological stress to identify the fracture points of human consciousness. When we understand how your minds break, we will know how to defeat your kind in the coming conflict. Tae-sung felt anger rising in his chest, pushing away the fear. "What conflict? Humans haven't done anything to you. Not yet. But we have studied your history. Humans expand. Humans consume. Humans fight. It is only a matter of time before your Terran coalition threatens our empire. We will not allow that to happen. We will be prepared." Crixenal turned away from the barrier. "Rest now, human Tae-sung. Your trials begin tomorrow." The blue light in the room suddenly got brighter, so bright that Tae-sung had to close his eyes. When he opened them again, he was alone. Hours passed. Maybe days. Time felt strange in the room with no windows and no clock. Tae-sung tried to stay calm. He had been trained for survival during his years in the military. First rule, understand your environment. He examined every inch of the cell. The walls were made of something that looked like glass but was stronger than any material he knew. The floor had no seams, no panels, nothing he could use. There was a small slot in one wall where a tray of strange food appeared at regular intervals. The food looked like gray paste but tasted like nothing at all. He was doing push-ups to keep his mind focused when a voice spoke softly from near the floor. "Don't eat all of it. Save some for later. They don't feed us much." Tae-sung spun around. The voice was human. Female. It came from a tiny vent near the corner of the room. "Who are you?" he whispered, moving closer to the vent. "My name is Ji-won. I'm in the cell next to yours. I've been here for 3 months. 3 months. Tae-sung felt sick. "Are there others?" "Yes, at least 20 that I know of. Maybe more. We try to communicate when the Valkyrians aren't monitoring us, which isn't often." Ji-won's voice was tired but steady. She sounded like someone who had learned to survive. "What do they do to us?" Tae-sung asked. There was a long pause. "They break into your mind. They have machines that can reach into your thoughts, your memories, your fears. They make you see things, feel things. They push and push until they think you'll break. Some people do break. I've heard them screaming." Tae-sung felt cold fear creeping down his spine. "But you haven't broken." Ji-won laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No, none of us have, not really. That's what scares them. They don't understand. They think if they push hard enough, we'll shatter like glass. But human minds don't work that way. We bend, we adapt, we survive, and how long will they keep trying? Until they figure it out. Or until we die. Whichever comes first. Ji-won's voice got quieter. Listen to me, Taesung. When they start the sessions, don't fight it. That only makes it worse. Let the pain wash over you. Find something in your mind to hold on to. A memory or a thought that makes you strong. Hide there until it's over. Before Taesung could ask more questions, a harsh sound filled the room. It was like an alarm but deeper, vibrating in his bones. Ji-won's voice disappeared. The barrier on one wall suddenly became transparent. Crixnell stood there with two other Valkyrians. These two were different. They wore something like armor, dark and smooth, and they carried devices that crackled with blue energy. Human Taesung, Crixnell said. It is time for your first evaluation. You will come with us. Taesung stood up slowly. His heart was pounding, but he kept his face calm. He had survived the resource wars on Earth. He had watched friends die and cities burn. He had lived through things that still haunted his dreams. Whatever these aliens were going to do to him, he would survive it. He had to. The barrier opened and the two armored Valzyrans moved forward. They grabbed his arms with hands that felt like cold metal. Their grip was strong, too strong to fight. As they pulled him out of the cell, Taesung looked back and saw a tiny vent in the wall of the hallway. He could not see Ji-won, but he knew she was there, watching. He was not alone in this place. That thought gave him strength. They dragged him down a long corridor that curved in strange ways. The walls pulsed with light that seemed to move in patterns. Taesung tried to memorize the path, but the corridor twisted in ways that made his head hurt. Finally, they stopped at a large door that opened without sound. The room beyond was dark except for a single chair in the center. The chair was surrounded by machines that hummed with power. Above the chair, hanging from the ceiling, were dozens of thin cables that ended in sharp points. Crixnell gestured toward the chair. Sit, human. Let us begin to understand your mind. Let us find where it breaks. Taesung looked at the chair, at the machines, at the cables waiting to pierce his skull. He thought about Ji-won's words. Find something to hold on to. He thought about Earth, about the sun rising over the mountains where he grew up. He thought about his sister, who was still alive somewhere in the colonies. He thought about every human being who was counting on people like him to survive, to resist, to never give up. He walked to the chair and sat down. Do your worst, he said quietly. You'll find that humans don't break easy. The cables descended toward Taesung's head like mechanical snakes. He forced himself to stay still as they touched his scalp. There was a sharp pain, then a burning sensation as they pushed through skin and bone. He bit down hard, refusing to scream. Crixnell's voice came from somewhere in the darkness. Beginning neural mapping. Subject will experience discomfort. Discomfort. That was a gentle word for what happened next. Taesung felt something invading his mind, pushing into his thoughts like cold fingers searching through his memories. It hurt in a way he had never felt before. Not physical pain exactly, but something deeper. It felt like someone was tearing open his soul. Images flashed through his mind. His childhood home. His mother's face. His first day at the military academy. But the images were wrong, twisted. His mother's face melted like wax. The academy burned with green fire. Everything he remembered was being corrupted, changed, made into something horrible. Interesting, Crixnell said. Human memories are more resilient than expected. Increasing neural disruption to level 3. The pain got worse. Much worse. Taesung saw his sister dying in 100 different ways. He watched Earth explode over and over. He felt every loss, every fear, every moment of pain from his entire life all happening at once. His mind screamed for it to stop, but his mouth stayed closed. He would not give them the satisfaction. Time stopped meaning anything. Minutes felt like hours. Hours felt like years. The machines kept pushing, kept searching for the point where he would break. But somewhere deep inside, in a part of his mind the machines could not reach, Taesung held on to one simple thought. I am human. I survive. Finally the cables withdrew. Taesung slumped in the chair, his body covered in sweat, his mind feeling bruised and raw. He could barely think straight, but he was still conscious. Still himself, Crixnell moved into his field of vision. The alien's face showed something that might have been confusion. Remarkable. Level 3 disruption. Should have induced complete psychological collapse. Your neural patterns show damage, but your consciousness remains integrated. We will try again tomorrow with increased intensity. They dragged Taesung back to his cell and threw him on the floor. He lay there for a long time, unable to move, his mind trying to put itself back together. Eventually, Ji-won's voice came from the vent again. You survived the first session. That's good. That's very good. Doesn't feel good, Taesung whispered. His voice was hoarse, I know. But you're alive and you're still you. That matters. Jiwon paused. Listen carefully. I've been studying them, learning how their technology works. The machines they use, they're designed for Valkyrian minds. Valkyrians think differently than us. Their consciousness is more fragile, more structured. When the machines disrupt those structures, their minds shatter easily. But human minds are different, Taesung said, understanding. Exactly. We're messy. We're chaotic. Our thoughts don't follow neat patterns. So when their machines try to break us along those neat lines, we just bend around the damage. We adapt. Jiwon's voice got quieter. But there's something else. Something I've noticed. The longer they use those machines on us, the more we can feel them, like we're learning their technology from the inside. Taesung closed his eyes thinking about what she said. Now that she mentioned it, he could remember something strange during the session. For just a moment before the pain got too bad, he had felt the machines themselves. Not just what they were doing to him, but the energy they used, the way they connected to his mind. It was like touching electricity with his bare thoughts. Over the next weeks, the sessions continued. Each time the Valkyrians increased the intensity. Each time Taesung survived. And each time that strange awareness grew stronger. He began to sense the machines before the cables even touched him. He could feel the energy flowing through them, could almost understand the patterns they used. On the 15th session, something changed. A new Valkyrian entered the room. This one was different from the others. Larger, with patterns on its skin that glowed like embers, it radiated authority and power. I am High Inquisitor Velmoth, it announced. I have come to witness this anomaly personally. Researcher Crixnell, your reports claim this human has survived disruption levels that should be impossible. I find this difficult to believe. Crixnell bowed its head. See for yourself, High Inquisitor. I will demonstrate with level 5 disruption. No human should survive level 5. Taesung felt fear spike in his chest. Level 5. They had never gone above level 3 before, but he set his jaw and prepared himself. He would survive this too. He had to. The cables descended. The pain began. But this time it was beyond anything he had experienced before. It felt like his mind was being torn apart molecule by molecule. He saw everyone he had ever loved dying. He felt every possible fear, every nightmare, every dark thought magnified 1,000 times. His body convulsed in the chair. Blood ran from his nose and ears. But in the center of that hurricane of pain, something unexpected happened. Taesung's awareness of the machine suddenly became crystal clear. He could feel every cable, every pulse of energy, every circuit in the devices torturing him. And for the first time, he realized something incredible. He could push back. It was like flexing a muscle he never knew he had. Taesung reached out with his mind toward the nearest machine. He felt its energy patterns, felt how it connected to his neural pathways, and then instinctively he disrupted it. The machine sparked and went dark. The cable attached to it fell away from his head. Crixnell made a sound of alarm. Power fluctuation in Node 7. Cause unknown. Taesung was too focused to hear. He reached for another machine, then another. Each time he touched them with his thoughts, they sputtered and died. The pain began to decrease as more cables fell away. Impossible, Velmoth said. The human is interfacing with the neural disruptors. Shut down the system, now! But it was too late. Taesung had found the main power conduit. He could feel it like a river of electricity flowing through the room. With one massive mental push, he grabbed that river and twisted it. Every machine in the room exploded at once. Sparks flew everywhere. The lights went out. In the darkness, Taesung heard Crixnell and Velmoth shouting in their strange language. Alarms started blaring throughout the ship. The cables released from Taesung's head and he fell from the chair onto the floor. He was weak, exhausted, but alive. And more than that, he was changed. He could still feel the electrical systems all around him. He could sense power flowing through the walls, through the floor, through the entire ship. It was like he had developed a new sense, one that let him touch technology with his mind. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing the room in red light. Crixnell was staring at him with what Taesung now recognized as fear. Velmoth was speaking rapidly into some kind of communication device. All units to Interrogation Chamber 7. Subject has manifested unknown abilities. Extreme caution advised. Taesung struggled to his feet. His body felt like it had been beaten, but his mind was sharper than ever. He looked at the Valkyrans and smiled, tasting blood on his lips. You wanted to know how human minds break, he said. Here's the thing. We don't break. We evolve. Armed Valkyrans burst through the door, their weapons raised. Taesung could feel the energy in their weapons, could sense exactly how they worked. He knew somehow that he could shut them all down with a thought. But he was too weak right now. He had used too much energy. His vision was starting to blur. As the guards grabbed him, Taesung heard Ji-won's voice in his head. Not from the vent this time. Actually in his head, like she was speaking directly to his mind. I felt what you did. We all felt it. Every human on this ship. Whatever they unlocked in you, it's spreading to us. Hold on, Taesung. Something is beginning. Something they can't stop. Then everything went black and Taesung knew nothing more. Taesung woke up in a different cell. This one had no vents, no visible walls, just darkness in every direction. He was floating in something that felt like water but did not make him wet. His body still ached from the session, but his mind felt different, clearer, stronger. And he could still feel it, that new awareness of the technology around him. He could sense the containment field holding him suspended. It was made of intersecting energy waves that created a pocket of artificial gravity. With concentration, he could trace each wave back to its generator. 3 of them positioned around the cell in a triangle pattern. Fascinating, is it not? A voice spoke from the darkness. Velmoth materialized from shadows that should not exist, its body glowing faintly. You can feel the technology now. We have been monitoring your neural activity. The disruption process has somehow granted you abilities that should not be possible for a species without natural psychic development. Taesung said nothing. He was learning that silence bothered the Valkyrans more than any words could. Velmoth continued. We have made a grave error. In attempting to break you, we have created something new, something dangerous. The question now is what to do with you. You could let me go, Taesung suggested. Impossible. You have become a threat to the Empire, as have the other humans showing similar developments. We detected energy fluctuations in 17 different containment cells after your incident. Your fellow prisoners are beginning to awaken as well. 17. That meant 17 humans were developing abilities like his. The number gave Taesung hope, but he kept his face neutral. Velmoth moved closer, its 3 dark eyes fixed on him. High Command has ordered your termination. All human subjects are to be eliminated before these abilities can develop further. However, I have convinced them to grant me 1 more day. I wish to understand what we have created before we destroy it. You mean you want to know if you can use it, Taesung said. Of course. Imagine an army with your abilities. We could interface with any technology, control any system. We would be unstoppable. Velmoth tilted its head. But such abilities in human hands? That would be unacceptable. You multiply too quickly. You adapt too easily. If your entire species developed these powers, the balance of the galaxy would shift. We cannot allow that. Then you have a problem, Taesung said. Because I don't think you can stop it. Whatever you did to us, it's already done. And killing us might just make it worse. Our species has a habit of remembering those who try to destroy us. Velmoth was silent for a long moment. Then it turned and vanished into the shadows again. You have 1 day, human. Use it to make peace with your death. Alone again, Taesung closed his eyes and focused on his new sense. He could feel the ship around him now. A vast network of systems and power conduits. And there, faint but clear, he felt something else. Other points of awareness. Other minds touching the technology like he was. The other humans were reaching out, learning, growing stronger. Ji-won's presence suddenly filled his mind, clearer than before. He could almost see her in a cell somewhere above him. Taesung, can you hear me? Yes, how are you doing this? I don't know exactly. After I felt what you did, I tried to replicate it. I can touch the ship's systems now, like you can. But I found something else. I can connect to the other humans. It's like we're all nodes in a network. Her mental voice grew excited. There are 23 of us total. Most are just starting to wake up to their abilities. But a few are strong. There's a woman named Bora. She was an engineer before they captured her. She can interface with computer systems directly. And there's a kid, Hyunwoo. He's only 16, but Taesung, he can generate electromagnetic pulses with his mind. He accidentally knocked out power to an entire section. Taesung felt a surge of hope. Can we use these abilities to escape? Maybe. Bora has been mapping the ship's layout through the computer system. She found something important. This isn't just a research vessel. It's a mobile command station. There are military ships docked here, and 300 more human prisoners in the lower decks. They're scheduled for mass neural disruption tomorrow. Velmoth wants to force evolve them all, then study the process. Or kill us all if it goes wrong, Taesung added. Yes. Either way, we're running out of time. Ji-won paused. I have a plan, but it's risky. I wasn't entirely honest with you before. I'm not just a xenobiologist. I was military intelligence before I got captured. I let them take me on purpose to gather information about Valkyrian technology. Taesung should have been angry at the deception, but he understood. Did you know this would happen? That they would give us these abilities? No, that was pure accident. But now that it has happened, we need to use it. We need to free the other prisoners and get off this ship. But more than that, we need to warn Earth. If the Valkyrians are willing to do this to us, they're preparing for war. Our people need to know. What's the plan? Over the next hour, Ji-won outlined her strategy. She had been watching the Valkyrians carefully, learning their routines and security protocols. Bora had found weaknesses in the ship's systems. Hyunwoo could create distractions. Together, the awakened humans could coordinate an escape. But they needed something more. They needed Taesung to disable the containment field simultaneously. He was the strongest among them, the one who could reach the deepest into the ship's systems. Can you do it? Ji-won asked. Taesung reached out with his awareness, touching the generators that held him suspended. He followed their connections through the ship, finding the central power distribution node. It was heavily shielded, protected by layers of security systems, but he could feel the energy flowing through it. He could sense the patterns. Yes, he said finally. I can do it. But it's going to drain me. I might not be conscious after. Then we'll carry you. Are you ready? Taesung thought about the 300 humans waiting in the lower decks. He thought about Earth, unprepared for the war that was coming. He thought about what the Valkyrians had tried to do to them and what they had accidentally created instead. Yes, let's show them what happens when you try to break humanity. The plan began at what the ship's systems indicated was midnight cycle. Taesung reached deep into the power grid, finding the central node. At the same time, Bora attacked the security systems, creating false alarms throughout the ship. Hyunwoo released an electromagnetic pulse that knocked out sensors in 3 sections. Taesung felt the other humans joining their strength to his, a network of minds working as one. Together, they grabbed the containment field generators and crushed them. All across the ship, cells opened at once. 23 awakened humans stepped out of captivity, their abilities blazing. And in the lower decks, 300 more prisoners found their doors unlocked. Alarms shrieked. Valkyrian guards rushed through corridors. But the humans were coordinated, connected, working together like a single organism. Those with abilities guided those without. They moved as a swarm toward the docking bays. Taesung felt his strength fading, but he pushed harder. He reached into the ship's weapon systems and disabled them. He locked doors behind the escaping humans and opened doors ahead of them. He was everywhere at once, holding the Valkyrians back. Krixnel's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. Please stop this. You do not understand what you are doing. If you escape, if this ability spreads, it will change everything. The galaxy is not ready for awakened humans. Taesung found Krixnel's location and opened a communication channel. You should have thought of that before you tried to break us. We didn't ask for this. You forced it on us. Now deal with the consequences. Ji-won's voice filled his mind. Taesung, we're at the docking bay. There's a corvette here, military grade. Bora says she can fly it, but we need you to open the bay doors. On it. Taesung reached for the bay door controls, but something was wrong. Velmoth had taken manual control, locking them from the command center. Taesung pushed harder, trying to override the lock, but his strength was almost gone. Then he felt it. The other humans, all of them, lending him their power, even those who had not awakened. Their simple human determination and will flowing through the network to strengthen him. 323 minds focused on one goal, freedom. With a mental roar, Taesung shattered Velmoth's control and threw the bay doors open. Go, he gasped. Get out now. The corvette's engines fired. Through his connection to the ship's sensors, Taesung watched it launch into space. 323 humans free. His work done. Taesung let his consciousness slip away. His last thought was a simple one: we survived. We always survive. Taesung woke up on the corvette with Ji-won sitting beside him. Her face showed relief when his eyes opened. Welcome back. You've been out for 6 hours. She helped him sit up. We're making good progress. Bora has the ship running smoothly. We're heading toward the nearest Terran Coalition outpost. Taesung's head still hurt, but the exhaustion was fading. He could feel the ship around him, its systems humming with power. Did we all make it? Yes, all 323. Some injuries, but everyone is alive. Ji-won smiled. The Valxirans didn't follow us. I think we scared them pretty badly. Taesung stood up slowly and looked around. The Corvette's interior was designed for Valxirans, so everything looked strange and uncomfortable. But humans were adaptable. They had already started modifying things, making the ship work for them. I need to see the others, he said. Ji-won led him through the ship. In the cargo bay, hundreds of humans were gathered. They looked tired and scared, but there was hope in their eyes. When Taesung entered, they turned to look at him. Some started to applaud. He raised his hands. Please don't, I'm not a hero. We all did this together. A young man pushed through the crowd. He was small, barely looked old enough to be away from home. You're Taesung. I'm Hyunwoo. I was in cell block 7 when you disabled the fields. I felt what you did. We all felt it. His eyes were bright with excitement. I can make electricity now. Watch. Hyunwoo held out his hand and sparks danced between his fingers. The effect only lasted a second before he stumbled, clearly drained. Don't push too hard, Taesung warned. These abilities take energy. You need to learn your limits. A woman with short hair and oil stains on her clothes approached. I'm Bora. I've been flying this ship, but it's more than that. When I touch the controls, I can feel the entire computer system. I can make it do things it wasn't designed for. She looked worried. Is this permanent? Are we going to be like this forever? I don't know, Taesung admitted. I wish I had answers, but I'm figuring this out just like you are. Ji-won stepped forward. What we do know is that about 70 people on this ship have manifested abilities. The rest haven't shown any signs yet. We don't know if they will, or if the abilities require specific conditions to appear. Over the next few hours, Taesung met with the others who had awakened. Each had developed something different. A man named Dong-hyun could sense biological systems and had helped treat the injured. A woman named Hai-wan could manipulate gravity in small areas. An older man named Sang-wook could see electromagnetic radiation, which let him detect ships and obstacles that normal sensors might miss. They were like children learning to walk, discovering powers they did not understand. Taesung felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. These people needed guidance, needed someone who understood what they were going through. We should call ourselves something, Hyunwoo suggested during one gathering. We're different now, changed, we need a name. The Unbroken, someone said. Taesung turned and saw it was an older woman who had not spoken before. They tried to break us, but we didn't break. We became something more. We're the Unbroken. The name spread through the group like fire. The Unbroken. It felt right, but their relief was short-lived. Sang-wook, using his ability to see electromagnetic radiation, detected something troubling. Multiple ships approaching. Valxiran signatures. They're moving fast. Bora rushed to the controls. They found us. 12 vessels, all military. We can't fight that many. Taesung felt the approaching ships through his connection to the Corvette's sensors. They were close and getting closer. Can we outrun them? No, this Corvette is fast, but not that fast. They'll catch us in 20 minutes. Bora's hands moved over the controls. I can push the engines harder, but it might damage them. Do it, Ji-won said. We didn't come this far to get captured again. The Corvette surged forward, but the Valxiran ships matched their speed. Taesung could feel the enemy vessels getting nearer. He could sense their weapons charging, their targeting systems locking on. Then something unexpected happened. Taesung felt a familiar presence reaching out across space. Crixenal was broadcasting a message, and it was directed at him. Taesung, I know you can hear this. Please respond. I wish to help you, Ji-won frowned. It could be a trick. Maybe, but why would Crixenal bother tricking us when they have 12 warships? Taesung reached out with his mind and touched the communication system. I'm listening, Crixenal. The Valxiran's voice filled the bridge through the speakers. I have been analyzing what we did to you, what we created. High Inquisitor Velmoth sees only danger and wants you destroyed. But I see something else. I see our mistake. We tried to break you to learn your weaknesses. Instead, we revealed your greatest strength, the ability to change, to grow, to become more than you were. That doesn't explain why you're helping us, Taesung said. Because I am a scientist. I study life and consciousness. What happened to you is the most significant event in galactic history. If humanity can be evolved through neural disruption, what does that mean? Could other species be evolved too? Or is this unique to humans? Crixnell paused. I need to know. But I cannot study this if Velmoth kills you all, so I am providing you with Valkyrian fleet movement data. Use it to avoid their patrols. Data suddenly flooded into the Corvette's computer. Bora gasped as information filled her mind. He's giving us everything. Ship positions, patrol routes, communication codes. This is real. There is more, Crixnell continued. Velmoth has received authorization to use extreme measures. They are taking 300 human prisoners from stations throughout Valkyrian space. They will subject all of them to forced neural disruption. If they survive, they will be killed. If they die, the experiments end. Either way, Velmoth gets what he wants. Tae-sung felt cold anger building in his chest. Where? Coordinates included in the data. You have 48 hours before the process begins. I cannot stop it. But perhaps you can. Crixnell's voice grew quieter. I am sorry for what we did to you. I truly am. We thought we were being careful, scientific. We did not consider that you might suffer. That you might feel. We treated you as subjects, not as people. That was our greatest error. The communication cut off. The 12 ships pursuing them suddenly changed course, moving away. Crixnell must have convinced them the Corvette had gone in a different direction. Ji-won looked at Tae-sung. Do we trust him? Does it matter? If there are 300 more humans about to go through what we did, we have to try to save them. Bora studied the data Crixnell had provided. The station is heavily defended. Even with surprise on our side, we can't fight our way in. We're refugees in a stolen ship, not a military force. Then we don't fight, Tae-sung said. We do what humans do best, we adapt. We find another way. Over the next hours, they formed a plan. It was risky and required perfect timing, but it could work. The Unbroken would use their abilities in ways the Valkyrans would not expect. Bora would hack the station's systems. Hyunwoo would create electromagnetic disruptions to blind their sensors. Tae-sung would disable their defenses, but they needed help. They needed to warn Earth. Needed to tell the Terran coalition what was happening. Ji-won sent an encrypted message to the nearest human outpost explaining everything. The response came 12 hours later. This is Admiral Su-jin of the Terran Defense Fleet. We received your message. Elements of the 5th Fleet are moving to intercept you and provide support. Do not engage Valkyrian forces until we arrive. Repeat, do not engage, but they could not wait. The deadline for the prisoners was approaching. Every hour they delayed meant those humans were closer to either forced evolution or death. Tae-sung gathered the Unbroken. I won't order anyone to do this. It's dangerous. Some of us might not make it back, but there are 300 people who need us. People like we were, scared and alone and waiting for someone to save them. We can be that someone. Hyunwoo stepped forward. I'm in. Me too, Bora said. One by one, the Unbroken volunteered. Not all of them. Some were too injured or too scared, but enough. 70 humans with strange new abilities, ready to face an empire. Ji-won stood beside Tae-sung as they watched the Valkyrian station grow larger on the view screen. Do you think we can actually do this? Tae-sung reached out with his senses, feeling the station's systems, its defenses, its power grid. It was massive, far larger than the research vessel had been, but he could feel its weaknesses too. Every system had them. They tried to break us to find our weakness, he said. But they never stopped to think about their own. They rely too much on their technology. They believe their systems are perfect. That's going to be their downfall. The Corvette moved closer to the station. Alarms would be sounding by now. Weapons would be charging. The Valkyrians would be preparing to destroy them. Tae-sung smiled grimly. Let's show them what the Unbroken can do.